The UW-Whitewater women's basketball team had a great start to their 2012-2013 season. Fueled by their team slogan, #PMKI, and with the help of their basketball angel, number 32 Alex Scarborough, they find themselves with a WIAC Conference Championship, anxiously awaiting the NCAA Division III bracket show. Little did they know, their journey was only beginning. When you go into the NCAA tournament, they play like the show, they show the brackets and what teams are in and what teams get to host.
It's always nerve-wracking, but I always have this sense of like confidence and cockiness, like, dude, we got this in the bag. But it's always like you have that little ounce of like, oh my God, what if we don't make it? This will be awful.
Well, we're all kind of just sitting around this tiny computer screen. There's 20-some of us just crammed there. We're like, oh my God, are we gonna be announced? When's it gonna be? What bracket and whatnot?
And then finally our bracket comes up and Whitewater, Wisconsin's hosting for the tournament. So we all jumped up and went crazy because that is a dream come true after especially us being on the road so much to host going into the Final Four. It was amazing, and I think it definitely played a part in us getting all the way to the end. The Lady Hawks were excited to start their journey through the NCAA tournament, but they knew the plague that cursed their first-round games had to be broken.
The curse is that we always make it in the tournament, but we always lose the first round. So coaches had a great idea. The gym is pitch black, and everyone is walking with their hands, like crossed, held hands. And there's this, in the middle of the court, a baby with the NCAA written on it, and they recite this seance thing with creepy music playing in the background, and this is their way of like breaking the curse. And honestly, there was, I think, paprika thrown, and then you had to stab a pin in the NCAA baby. It worked.
With the curse lifted and help from the best fans in the land, the Lady Warhawks continued to battle through each round of the NCAA Division III bracket.
And the final buzzer goes off. The Warhawks win 68-48, advancing to the second round of the NCAA tournament and ending their 3-game tournament losing streak. And they will play the Carthage Lady Reds at 7 p.m. tomorrow here on UW. This game, the final buzzer goes off as the Warhawks win 71-51, advancing to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament and avenging last year's tournament loss. Sam Newhouse is going to dribble this basketball out, and the final buzzer goes off. The Warhawks win 76-63, advancing to the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament, and they will play Hope College tomorrow at 7 here at the Cashel Gym.
In the Elite Eight, we got to play Hope again. Now this was probably the most excited and hyped up I've ever been for a game because they just put on a clinic with us the first time we played them. We all wanted this game bad. Just the locker room, you could just feel the excitement and the buzz before this game. And
just the atmosphere, it gives me goosebumps right now. Just the atmosphere of the game, it was packed, it was loud. And the first half, we just killed it. We made every shot, we had every steal. They were scared. And you know, it's probably my favorite game of all time was the Hope game.
I mean, it's just crazy how it all played out. You know, the fact that we went down to Hope and played them on their home court and they killed us. And the fact that we get to play Hope on our home court to go to the Final Four at Hope was just, I mean, it was just crazy how it all worked out. You know, for the seniors, it was kind of a bittersweet moment because, you know, we knew it was our last home game, but, you know, we were playing Hope. We had the chance to go to the Final Four, and it was a battle.
It was a tough game. They were physical. They were definitely right to be ranked as high as they were and to have the record they did. And they were a very, very good team and a tough opponent. But we played that game like we knew we were going to the national championship. There was no way that they were going to beat us in our own house and go play in the Final Four in their own. We were taking their spot.
Merck's second free throw is good. And that is gonna do it. Time to celebrate. The Warhawks win 65-60, advancing to next weekend's Final Four in Holland, Michigan, and avenging their earlier loss this season to the Dutch.
Final Four, they treated you like royalty, honestly. And in the locker room, everyone has their own locker with their like special name tag. They gave you like a super cool wooden plaque with like the NCAA basketball court on it, and they gave you a basketball and a towel and water bottles and free food.
I love the photo booth because I like dressing up in costumes and acting goofy with my teammates. And I mean, who doesn't love free food also? We got chocolate covered strawberries, chocolate fountain, we got smoothies on smoothies on smoothies. Of course,
the banquet was very classy and it was fun, and it brought all of the teams together, and each team had to do like a little speech before. And
each team sent 2 representatives to tell a story, and then Amherst, I think, imitated Bridesmaids, and then House and Thenie went and told our story, which was kind of like a storybook.
Once upon a time, there were 24 misfits, all coming into an uncharted basketball season at UW-Whitewater.
We're playing our first game in the Final Four in Michigan in the arena, which is really big and it's really awesome to play in. And I feel like we had an advantage because we had already played there earlier in the year. Not too much of an advantage, but it was something. But Amherst, they were giving us the game for sure. They were tough, they were good on the perimeter, they were good on the inside. Shot for shot, they were matching us, and we went back and forth a lot. It was a physical game.
You know, they had a pretty big lead on us with 2 minutes left. I think they were up by maybe 12, and you know, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought that it was over. I think a lot of people did too. We just started hitting threes like back to back to back, and we were down by 3 points with maybe 5 seconds left. And
they're on the free throw line, we're down by 3. It was a 1-on-1, so if she misses it, we would get a chance. All I remember is I told Lisa if she gets a rebound to pass it to me. And it happened. Lisa got the rebound, she passed to me, and I just knew what I had to do. I dribbled a little back the court. I kind of got a little screen action from my girl, Cora Kumaro, and I just threw it up there.
I thought that 3 was the game-winning 3. Freaked out. I was the one on the court like chest bumping everyone.
And I just remember storming the court, like we had just gone into overtime, like we have another chance to go to the national championship. It was just overwhelming joy. I think I increased my vertical by like 5 inches jumping out of my seat, but my heart was pounding.
Right away in overtime, we got out of the gate, we were scoring. Unfortunately, we got into a tie game situation. Again, there was about like 10 seconds left on the clock, and Amherst was down by 2, and it was my girl who scored for Amherst, and I was like, shoot. Somebody had the ball. I cut back, and I'm in the corner, already in a bad spot. She gives it to me, and I just beeline it to the hoop. Not knowing.
To see her come back and do it again to win, just a miracle.
You know, you could really feel like Alex was a part of that game, and you know, her presence, and you know, it was really like that game. People truly believed that we really did have a guardian angel.
I get a knock on my door at 2 in the morning. You would think don't knock on somebody's player's door at 2 in the morning when we have the national championship game the next day, but it happened, and I stayed up for an hour to watch the whole Sports Center, and I ended up seeing myself on TV.
Illinois 80-64. Number 1 Division III Women's National Semifinals. Wisconsin-Whitewater against Amherst. Mary Merg of Whitewater, buzzer beater, and now we're in overtime. This isn't the same play. She does it again. Second buzzer beater and the win. Wow.
Not only were we top 10, we were number 1. We beat LeBron James. Probably one of the greatest accomplishments, and it wasn't even me who made the shots, but it's one of the greatest accomplishments of my life.
Yeah, that whole experience, and even after the national championship game and voted best for the best, the whole community of Whitewater really supported me, and they're really really gave a lot of shout outs to me, which I was really thankful for, and it was just something I'll never forget.
You know, the championship game is something that you always dream of coming to college, especially being a senior. That's something that's obviously your ultimate goal, to make it to the championship game. You know, it's kind of bittersweet because you knew it was going to be your last game ever, but you know, you knew you could go out on a win, and not many people could say that. So just, you know, the atmosphere of it, and, you know, being part of something that only 2 teams out of, you know, 365 teams could be a part of, was just awesome. And, you know, even though we did lose, just getting that far and, you know, really coming together as a team was just a great feeling.
They haven't lost a game all season, and they were tough. They were tough. We were tired. We just had a game in overtime the day before. I mean, we were definitely tired, but that's not an excuse. They were a tough team, and they couldn't miss. I mean, it's tough to go back-to-back games and then experience that. I mean, it's nice to know that we lost to the best team in the nation at that point, even though I still think we were, but they were a very solid team, and they played extremely well. They played like a national championship team on that day.
They could just shoot the ball. They did not miss a shot. I felt like there was no opportunities to even get a rebound. You know, they played better that day. They were the better team, but I would play them again if I could.
I think our emotional overdrive from the game before really kind of took a toll on us. And we were all there, like, physically and, like, mentally kind of, but it was just the game before. If that would have been the championship game, that would have been super cool. And that's what I was thinking. Like, if this was the championship game, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, we still have to play the championship game.
It kind of set in before the actual buzzer went off that we were not going to win, which was kind of sad, but it was just amazing to see that our team had come so far. We had gone through such, like, lows together, but somehow came together to make it to the national championship. Like, that's the first time our team has ever been there. It was pretty cool to say, like, we were there, we competed against the national championship team.
I mean, my favorite memory would have to be the entire season. I mean, this is the stuff that's in movies, people. Movies. Like, a teammate dies, and then we rise above, you know, the ashes, and we just kick ass.
The thing that I wanted was to get to the very last possible game that we could play, and that was the national championship, and we made it there.
I would just say it, making it to the Final Four, just that whole atmosphere was just insane. You know, we had this banquet that was super fancy, and then we had, you know, a social with, you know, all this chocolate and fruit and photo booths, and just being there was just awesome. And knowing that you're one of 4 teams who actually get to make it to the Final Four was one of the coolest things in the world.
I think one of my favorite moments would be cutting down the nets twice in one season.
Something that stands out in my mind is the game we played right after Alex's death. We beat them by like 70 points. And so, like, I feel like after that game, like, I knew we were gonna go places because we had an angel.